I screwed up. These are paint grade. Well, I thought they were paint grade. Turns out they're supposed to be rift white oak. This is actually reconstituted rift white oak. It's actually man-made material, I believe from poplar. Look at that. Every sheet is very consistent in color. They're all the same, each sheet, so you don't get variation. It's great. So anyways, I already veneered the ends. There's two ends that are finished on these floating shelves. These are floating shelves. They're going to get a cleat. I might explain that later how I do that. But basically, I built them. I thought they were paint grade. Turns out they're supposed to be real wood, or at least they're supposed to be veneer, white oak. This is specifically rift, and it has that very straight grain. Anyways, to make a long story short, I now have to veneer the fronts and the sides that are exposed, and then I have to put veneer on these on both sides, top and bottom. So this video is going to show how I do that. So I might as well take advantage of my mistake, so I can show others what to do to a paint grade material and turn it into some sort of veneer. Okay? Basically I have these laid out right now, and I am going to glue these edges. I use this particular brand only because it's water-based and I trust it not to bubble. This stuff is fairly expensive. I think it was $80 for a gallon, something like that. Anyways, okay, so what I do is I keep it in a bag because as I'm using it during the day, I want to preserve the glue. So basically, I take this and I put some in there. You don't need that much. You don't want to use so much that you have to put any back, because just in case you got some scrap grain in there or something, you don't want it back in your bottle. You know? So these I simply roll on there. And be careful not to get too much, because you don't want to get it rolled over the edges. You might want to just go this way as opposed to this way, because it'll roll. If you can see what that looks like. I don't know if the camera's going to show it. I'll go really close. Okay. And you want to get every edge. Now I see a little bit near the edge is not highly covered, so you want to really make sure you got good coverage. I mean, like all of it. So if you have to go over it a second time, that's okay. Just make sure you get the entire surface. Okay? So I will probably end up fast forwarding this. So this particular pad is that foam that's like really flat. I think that works pretty good. it's got a little sheen, it's clear, and very shiny. Okay, so now, I think you can see this on here. I would take this, and these are just a little bit longer. Make sure you grab the right one, because this is all I have out of one sheet. All I had left was a little tiny strip. So anyways, take this, and usually there's several ways to do this, but you want to, I know that I have about a 1/4 inch overhang on the bottom, and you can just go along the edge there with the same overhang. You kind of eyeball it. I'm so good at, I've done this so many times. And then you go like that. And there's a ton of overhang here and a little bit here. And all you need is to make sure that you're overhanging. And the best way you want to apply pressure. And this is a flex, I don't know, I bought this a long time ago, but it has a phenolic, very strong edge, and you can like, I think I hit that against the sander to make it straight, because after time you might get a groove on it or something. But here, if you want to know exactly what this is, but you can use a stick of wood, you don't have to use this. And there you go, you just pressure, but make sure you've got to have pressure on there. Otherwise it's not going to stick, and you do that with each piece. A little bit of overhang. I'm holding it kind of taut. Like that. You can put them all on first and then press them down, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I need to remove it. So use lacquer thinner. If you need to take it off, that should salvage it. Okay, so at least I was able to salvage it. It was a dumb mistake, and we'll have to let these things dry. Basically, I took the piece that was meant for another, some of these are different lengths. This one is for here, and I put the longer one, which I need the full length of for this one. So, wow, it's already drying. That lacquer thinner worked really good. So I will reapply after that dries. I'm going to reapply the material. I should have here. So after this dries, it'll dry pretty quick because that was just lacquer thinner, and then I'll reapply the contact cement and go from there. We all screw up, right? And hopefully we don't screw up too often. That's the whole point, right? Efficiency. Yeah, well, that wasn't very efficient. Okay, so it's all dry and time to get back to it. So just like the others, I will grab the right one this time. This one belongs to this one. Okay. And just a little bit of overhang. Stretch it out so it's all equal. Boom. Okay, then this one. Okay. Use the old presser stick. Okay, and the bit I'm using this router. It has a spiral flush trim bit. I don't know if this It might get blurry. Let me go right there. Okay. All right. And with a brake on that is fast. And then I want to show you something. Let's see here if you can see this. You can also do it like this. And you'll notice this, I don't know if you can see it, but let me see if I can move the camera close. It didn't, in one pass it kept hitting the bump, so the bearing was hitting a little bit of glue or something, so it didn't cut it nice. So sometimes you have to go over it more than once. Let's see here, let's put it like that. Let's try that. And normally I hold it like this. I find it a little bit easier to balance myself. One-handed. Just go right across. And doing the same thing because of the glue. See if I can show this. See, that's from the glue. It's not a big deal. You can scrape it off, usually with a chisel, or you could go like this, get rid of some of that so that the bearing doesn't hit that, you know? I've routed it. It's still not, I don't seem to catch my fingernail on it, but I still want to do a little bit more sanding. And a good thing to do is you can go like this. It's called flat filing, just to make sure that there's no overhang. And that's the best thing you can do. And keep your file clean with one of these file cards. I never use this side, I only use this side. And I use not the rough side, but the fine side. This is the rough, this is the fine. And keep it flat on there. And you want to go that way. I believe these are only made for right-handed people, so you have to get used to that if you're left-handed. Right? Okay, let's wrap this up. These are dry, and I'm going to put the veneer on. Okay, we found out yesterday the best way to do this is with veneer. Make sure it's clean. So we want, let's see, so we put this on. See how curled that is? We just want an overhang of about, a little bit, maybe a 1/4 inch right there. As long as I have some overhang, that's all I need. A little bit. Okay? Pull this out. Out. There she goes. There it is. That's the culprit. That's hot. Now some simple routing. It goes right in here. And I'm not sure of the exact location, but I'm going to route this out, rabbit this, not dado, I guess it would be called a rabbit on each edge, for the whole distance, at least as far as I can go with my table saw blade. I'll have to show that next. What I was going to say is now, I might have said it earlier, but these, they get to have a finished end, have a bracket near the end, and I can only get one that's got two. That's probably better anyways, but I have to route it so it recesses into the opening. So, in order to do that, see there's flex here, and I have to run it through the saw. So I'm going to add a piece of wood, just a scrap piece, a very small piece, just on top of there, so this doesn't move around when I'm running it through the saw. So I'm just going to attach that with some nails for temporary. And let me check. Put this piece in here to spread it. And then tack this on. Take the nail gun, we'll use this piece here, and I'll just, if I always forget, I gotta turn this one on. There we go. I should be planning to do that. Now it's ready. This is the final product. These are the shelves. And let's see here. That's in the bathroom. Those were paint grade. Originally what those were. But let's see here. So they were a little bit tough to fit. And I'll show. Okay, so right here we have a bracket because there's no support on this end. This is an open end. This is wall to wall. Well, sort of wall to wall, hood to wall. And on over here there was only a, let me see if I have another closer up picture. So here, that's a regular screw because I got into a stud, but I had to use toggle bolts here. And I added one here as well. I just don't show it there in that photo. And then on the right side I just screwed to the hood. But here, when you're dealing with these types of brackets, sometimes to make this level you have to put a shim back here, which is what I did. I think there's a yeah, there we go. So right here
I threw a shim in order to level it, and that's like only 1.25 inches tall. So, and I had to drill another hole here for another screw, so to make it strong. And let's see here. And on this side, same thing. I had to add toggle bolts here and here, and you're limited to where your studs are. So this location of this had to be further to the right, because there was a stud here and there was a stud here, but there was none over here. And I checked I drilled a hole. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see the hole right there. I drilled the test to see if there was another stud. Anyway, so make a long story short, that's the final product right there. And I pulled the shelves out so they could be finished, and then I'll put them back in. And so there you go. Ta-da! It was successful. So a lot of extra work with veneering the shelves, but I got it done, and hopefully you enjoyed seeing that project come together. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content, because I am going to consistently add, hopefully every week, at least one new video. Okay, here's a bonus tip for you. When you're doing floating shelves like this one, wall to wall, this wall here, it's about 26 deep, and these shelves are 14. And oops, let's see here. So you see that cleat that I have up here? And you'll see there's a gap there on each side. The wall itself gets smaller in the front, so I had to make it small enough to slide over that cleat. And here's a toggle bolt. I had to use some toggle bolts, no choice. That's a 3/4 cleat, and it's inside the shelf. So in this case, because the let's see here. So because the wall here, right in this area, it starts to go inwards, so it becomes smaller. So you have no choice but to cut this, because you're sliding on these cleats and the shelf is pre-finished. You have to come from the front. So if you're going to do that, make it like a 3/16 or so gap on each side, and then that's the look. You don't need to caulk it or anything like that. It looks like it's floating there. If you really look down the side, you'll see a cleat, but it's kind of hard to see. So that's my 2 cents. There's no way to fit this. There was no way to slide it on unless and you don't want to gouge the wallpaper. It's brand new wallpaper. So let me see if I have another picture here of that room. No, I don't. But there's a toilet right below that, and yeah, there you go. And right over here, the wall is actually like 26 deep. So it's wall to wall, and the only way to make them fit without gouging the paper is to make enough of a gap so it's actually part of the style. Okay, so I keep showing the kitchen, sorry. Anyways, yeah, there you go. That's the bonus tip, and I hope you'll subscribe and hit that notification button, because I'm going to be making a lot more videos regarding cabinetry, because that's my specialty, and as well as some about the shop and tools in the shop, tips, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.